the Inspired Design School of Fashion. My name is Jumoke Olaguji, and today we'll be learning how to draft the pattern for a hood. Hood can be attached to a dress, to a jacket, to a caftan. Basically, it can be attached to anything, and there are different ways of drafting pattern for hood. I know some of you run away from drafting pattern, but it's actually very easy and necessary. For this one, we're drafting the pattern for a loose hood. There are other hood that is fitted, that is, it has that and contour and all that, but for this one is a very loose one, and we require two measurements for this to draft the pattern. One is the overhead measurement, where you take your tape, you put it across your head this way and bring it to meet at the nape of the neck. So you take the measurement and get 1/3 of that measurement. That is, you divide it by 3. That is the value you're going to use. For instance, if I take the measurement, I have 30 inches. That means the value I'm using for my drafting is 10 inches. Then the second one is the one I take from parallel to the eye like this, at the hairline, from one hairline to the hairline. You take the measurement. Let's say I have 14 inches, so you divide it by 2. That is 7 inches. Actually, there are standards that you can use for small size, for medium size, for large size, but that's basically how to take the measurement. So without wasting time, let's get to the drafting table and start drafting. You're going to need your drafting tools, the basic drafting tools. Then we're going to make use of our basic sleeve foundation and the front and back torso foundation. I've done classes on this in previous classes, so you may need to refer to that. I'll try and drop the link for the torso foundation and the sleeve in the description box. So let's draft the hood. Remember the measurement we took, which is the overhead measurement. We got like 27 inches. So that 27 inches, you're going to divide it by 3. That is like 9 inches. Then 9 inches. Then we're going to have 3/4 of an inch to that, making 9 inch 3/4. I'm just going to round it up to 10 inches to give it a little bit more room. If you want a more loose hood, you can add 2 inches so that you have like maybe 12 inches or 11 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to draw the guideline before I start drafting. Just going to draw the line at the top and the side to mark where I'll be drafting. Okay. Alright, so on this line, this side line, I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches. So I'll measure 2.5 inches down. From that 2.5 inches mark, I will insert my overhead measurement, the one we just calculated. I said I'll be using 10 inches, so I'm just going to I'll measure 10 inches down. So at that point, I'll just label my line. So I'll call this point A. The 2.5 inches down, I'll call it B, and at the top here, I'll call it C. So we'll have A, B, C line. So on this parallel line, I will insert the value of A to B, which is my overhead measurement. That's 10 inches. So I'll call that point D. So this is 10 inches. A to B is also 10 inches. B to C is 2.5 inches. Okay. Now, I said we're going to need our basic torso foundation. I'll bring it. But before then, I'll just draw a straight line. I'll square this D line, I'll square it downward. Just draw a straight line downward from D. You can make it as long as your up to like the A point, or extend it a little bit below A. So that's just the line. Then I'll take my back torso foundation. This is the center back. I'll place the center back on the AC line. making sure that the edge of the neckline meets with the A at this point, the A point. So I'll place the neckline at point A. I'll make sure that my center back is parallel and on the AC line. Then I will draft the curve of the neckline up to the what's it called, the edge of the neckline, I mean the shoulder here. This is the beginning, the center back. I'll draft it up to the shoulder, the shoulder point. Okay, so let me make sure it's showing. Okay, so I'll call this point E. Then I'll go 3/4 of an inch this way. I'm just going to measure 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. I'm just trying to mark it 3/4 of an inch. Then on this 3/4 of an inch mark, I'm just putting a dotted line. I'm going to place the center back on it. You can notice that that line is parallel to the AC line. It must be straight. Then I'll place my center back on it again. And this time, I will draw the neckline. Now, if you are using a pattern, I think the pattern I have, the torso foundation that I have is the one that has a shoulder dart. So if you are using the one with the shoulder dart, from the edge of the beginning of the neckline here, or the shoulder line here, you're going to draft up to the dart point. But because I'm not using any, this one doesn't have a dart, I will just draw a straight line. I will connect it to this, what's it called now? To this line that's coming from D. So from the beginning of the shoulder line or the shoulder point here, I'll just draw a straight line and connect with the line. So I'll call this point F. You will notice that there's a gap between E and F. I'll find the midpoint of the gap between E and F, which is this point. I'll draw a straight line up. We're going to create a dart at that point. So the line will be 3 inches long. 3 inches long. Make sure the line is straight. And then from that point, the 3 inches mark, I'll connect to E and F to have my dart length. So that's the dart at that point. If you are doing a dartless design, you just close this up. But let's stay with this. So this is the dart. Now for the front part, I'll place the center front at the neckline region here. At this point, I'll place it at the F point, which is the beginning of the shoulder line for the back. Then not the center front, this is the center front. This is the beginning of the shoulder line for the front. I'll place it with the beginning of the shoulder line for the back, making sure it lies on this shoulder line. So like this. I'll go over it again. This is your regular neckline. So this is the center front. So this is the shoulder point. So this shoulder point now, I will match it up with the shoulder line of the back. But you have to make sure that your neckline is facing towards the center back. This is where the center back was. So the center front also must face this side. Then you match it up. Because if you make a mistake and do it this way, obviously it will not work. Your neckline will face this side, while the neckline for the back is facing this side. So I'll match it up at that point. Okay. Then I'll use a dotted line to mark the neckline. A dotted line to mark the dot line, the neckline. Okay. Okay. I've marked it. Then I'm going to take a pin to hold this at this point, at the F point. Then I'm going to shift the neckline like this, 2 inches away. So from the line that I have drawn here, I'll measure 2 inches. 2 inches, so it's around here. I'm going to mark it. So there's a 2 inches gap between the former neckline that you've drawn and this new point that you have. Then I'm going to trace it from that point. Make sure it's not moving. I'm going to trace the front neckline up to the center front. Then we'll label it, what value do we have left? G, or whatever value you want to call it. So we're almost, so you will notice that from the dotted lines here to this G point, we have 2 inches gap. So that's the essence of the shifting. Then from this G, I will connect to this point, to the point where the shoulder line crosses the D line. So I'll just do a curve shape. Okay. Alright. So we have our pattern. Now, to eradicate this angle at this point, if you don't want your hoodie to have this angle, we're going to create a sort of dart at that point. So remember, C to B is 2.5 inches. From B, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches out again. Then I'll measure from C, I'll measure 2.5 inches. So basically, I'm drawing a square of 2.5 inches. Okay, so you can cut it out. This part we're going to cut out from our pattern. This part we're going to cut on fold when we're cutting our fabric. So let's quickly cut out. I'm cutting out our square parts. Okay. Now I'm just going to cut out the dart from this part. Okay, so when we're stitching, we're going to, stitch this place close, and then this place will close the dart, and this will go around the neckline. Remember, we're cutting this side on fold, so this will be the center back, will be attached to the back, and then this one will come towards the front. So let's cut out our fabric. But basically, this is the pattern we're going to be using. I'm just going to place all my pattern, including the sleeve, on my fabric. I'll fold it and cut it out. So I just quickly run you through how to attach it, but it's not going to be so detailed because this is the main purpose of this class is to learn how to drop the hood. After cutting it out, this is what we're going to have. So I said this part, the AC line, is cut on fold. So when you open it out, you should have something that looks like this. Okay, so this is the neckline area, front and back. So what you're going to do now is to stitch this part. Also, when I was cutting, I left a little bit of allowance at the edge here so that I can use it to turn the edge. And then you can, if you want to put a rope, you can make a channel for your rope to come out. So this will serve as well. So what you're going to do now is to stitch this part. Then we're going to open it up like this way, and stitch. That's how we're going to close that square part that will cut out. So that will eliminate the pointed edges that would have formed at the center back. Now we're going to have something a little bit rounded and that will, mold around the head. If you want a more fitted hoodie or hood, there's another pattern for that that includes darts at the top of the head, at the down part and all that, but this is a much simpler way of drafting the hood. So you're going to have something like this. Then I have my sleeve. I made a 3/4 sleeve. Like I said, I won't draw so much on this. Then this is the dress pattern. You can use the hood on a jacket or a dress or whatever you want to use. So I'm using a dress, and I want a zipper in front. So I cut my back on fold and then added zipper allowance to the front. You're going to go ahead taking your darts, if you have included that in your pattern, join the shoulders and all that. Then I'll come back and show you how to just attach the hood to it. Even though it's very simple, just like attaching a normal collar. So let's finish the dress, then I'll show you how to attach the hood. Alright, so I've stitched the hoodie, and this is the completed dress I'm going to add it to. Like I said, this class is about the hoodie and not the dress. So I just made a simple dress. You can find some previous videos on our YouTube channel that teaches how to make a simple bodycon dress, and I decided to use this African print as pocket on it. Alright, so that's beside the line. This is the hoodie, and also you can decide whether you want to put a drawstring or not. It's optional. But if you are putting a drawstring, you have to, before you turn it over, you have to put an eyelet, so that it's through that eyelet that the drawstring will come out. Then when you turn this, you stitch and create a channel around the neckline this way. I mean, not the neckline, the part that will go around the face. So that's the channel where the drawstring will pass through. And remember to take in your darts, the two darts that will this side that will made on the pattern. So once that is ready, the thing left is to attach it to the dress, or if you are attaching it to a jacket, you just the normal neckline. Remember, when we use our pattern, we just use the basic neckline. So I'll just find the midpoint of the back here, then I'll find the midpoint of my hoodie, attach it, then stitch it all the way to the front like this, and your dress or your jacket is ready with the hoodie. So that's it for this class. I hope to see you in my next class. Check our previous videos on YouTube to see all the different DIY classes that we do. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, the Inspired Design Clothing. That's the page, and we have a group, the Inspired Design School of Fashion, where you can share your projects, as in your practice work with us and everything. Remember to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and turn on your notifications so that whenever I upload new videos, you don't miss out. Alright, until next time we will meet, just keep practicing and stay inspired. Bye.